The worst part wasn't the accusation, it was how fast everyone believed it. One day I was top of the class, a scholarship finalist, and trusted by everyone. The next, I was the school's cautionary tale. Academic dishonesty, the email read. Cheating on final exam, caught red-handed. Attached was a grainy image of my test, clearly marked with tiny, handwritten answers scrawled across the inside of a water bottle label. The evidence was damning, except one thing, it wasn't mine. I didn't cheat. But that bottle wasn't mine. They said there was camera footage, me reaching under the desk. But I had only dropped my pencil. Still, it didn't matter. The verdict was already written. The silence from my friends was louder than the rumors. Jaden didn't respond to my messages. Arya blocked me. Tasha ghosted me completely. And soon after, a meme of me, mocking me, started circulating. Dozens of likes. That's when I knew. They framed me. The people I trusted most. I should have been angry. I wasn't, at least not yet. I was stunned. Hollow. Like the ground had been ripped from beneath me and everyone just watched. I didn't cry. I didn't fight. But I didn't forget. Because if they could smile while taking everything from me, then I could smile when I watched their perfect little circle fall apart, one lie at a time. My name's Caleb Moore. I'm 18. Senior. Or at least I was, until all this happened. Before everything crumbled, I had it together. I wasn't the loudest in the room, but people knew me. I made honor roll every semester, captained the debate team, helped tutor underclassmen after school. I wasn't perfect, but I was proud of who I was becoming. I had college lined up, full scholarship to Hillcrest University. My parents? Working class folks. That scholarship wasn't just an achievement. It was freedom. A chance to break the cycle. A future. And I didn't get here alone. Jaden was there for most of it. He was the one I'd known the longest. We met in 6th grade detention. He got in for talking back. I got in for correcting the teacher too much. We clicked instantly. Through the years, he stayed close. Always cracking jokes, backing me up in arguments, dragging me to parties I didn't want to attend. Then came Arya. She transferred junior year. Smart, observant, a little mysterious. Jaden liked her first, but I connected with her on a different level. Quiet talks, shared books, long eye contact in the library. We started dating a few months before the exams. I'd never felt more seen. And Tasha? She was glue. The one who held our little circle together. She knew everyone's birthdays, everyone's secrets. She joked that we'd all be the godparents of each other's kids one day. I thought I knew them. I really believed they had my back. I didn't realize how wrong I was, until the day they took everything from me. Looking back, the signs were there. Jaden had grown distant in the weeks before finals. He'd snap when I brought up college plans, especially after he got waitlisted. I thought it was stress. Arya had been checking her phone a lot, smiling at texts she wouldn't let me see. She started pulling back, saying she needed space to think. I figured she just needed time. And Tasha, she was quiet around me. Almost awkward. Whenever I joined them, the conversation shifted, like I'd walked in late to a secret. But I ignored it. I wanted to believe we were still solid. That we were just growing, not growing apart. It wasn't until the rumor started, just days before the test, that I felt the shift fully. He's not as clean as he seems. Someone whispered behind me in the hallway. I brushed it off. Until I heard it again. And again. He probably has a trick to ace every test. He acts like he's above us. Then Jaden said it to my face, half joking, but not really. Don't worry, man. You always find a way to win. I laughed with him. But something cold settled in my chest. It started with a whisper. Then a look. Then a silence that said more than words ever could. Finals week was brutal. The pressure was real, grades, scholarships, futures on the line. I arrived early that morning, water bottle in hand, mechanical pencils lined up like soldiers. I wasn't nervous. I was ready. The test itself wasn't hard. I knew the material. I even finished early, double-checked everything, and walked out confident. Then, an hour later, I was called into the dean's office. There, sitting on the desk, was a plastic water bottle. The label had been peeled back and taped over with tiny, handwritten notes, answers to our history final. My name was on the exam inside the folder. My handwriting. My seat number. Except I had never written those notes. That wasn't my bottle. Someone reported suspicious behavior, the dean said flatly. We reviewed the camera. I blinked. Camera? You mean surveillance? He nodded. We saw you pull something from under your desk. I racked my brain. I had dropped my pencil. I'd bent down to pick it up. That was it. But try explaining that when all they see is a convenient reach followed by a conveniently marked bottle. I left the room stunned. Later that day, I got the email. Suspension. Disqualification from all academic honors. Pending investigation with possible expulsion. I felt sick. I called Jaden first. He didn't answer. I texted. No reply. I tried Arya. She read the message, never responded. Tasha blocked me before I could even ask. Then the photos started circulating. Someone had taken a picture of me sitting at my desk mid-exam, zoomed in on the bottle. Same angle as the camera, but clearer. It had been shared in group chats, stories, captions like, "Guess perfection has its limits." I couldn't breathe. For a few days, I clung to the idea that maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone planted it, and no one knew who. But then I overheard them, Jaden, Arya, and Tasha, laughing near the back of the parking lot. Can't believe he actually thought he was untouchable. It had to be him. He was always the golden boy. Always first. Always right. That bottle trick? Genius. That was when it hit me. Not only had they set me up, they were proud of it. They hadn't just watched me fall. They pushed me off the ledge. And the worst part? They had known exactly where to hit me. Not just my grades, not just my future, but my trust. I sat in my room that night, surrounded by rejection emails, missed calls from extended family asking what happened, and my mom's worried footsteps just outside my door. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared at the ceiling and made a silent promise. I wasn't going to prove I was innocent. I was going to make them fall apart the same way they'd broken me, quietly, completely, and from the inside. I stopped showing up to school. What was the point? My teachers either avoided eye contact or gave me pity looks. My classmates stared like I was contagious. The only messages I got were from people asking for my side of the story, just so they could screenshot it and share it. Even my cousins texted my mom. Is it true? Caleb cheated? She didn't respond. She just cooked more than usual and left food outside my door. I stayed in bed for days. When I finally logged back into social media, I found myself tagged in a meme, my yearbook photo photoshopped over a Monopoly card. Go directly to suspension. Do not pass graduation. Do not collect your scholarship. Over 100 likes. The worst part? I knew the humor. I used to laugh with them, too. But now I was the punchline. Jaden didn't even try to be subtle. He posted a pic of his acceptance letter captioned, "Hard work pays off, without shortcuts." Arya was suddenly dating someone new, just 2 weeks after everything went down. Tasha? She was throwing shade left and right. All three of them looked untouchable. Like they'd buried me and moved on. Meanwhile, I was drowning in silence. I wanted to be angry, really I did, but mostly I just felt hollow. Like my chest was an open room no one lived in anymore. But something in me refused to stay broken. I started going for walks late at night. Headphones in. Hoodie up. That's when the thoughts came clearer. They didn't just take away my future. They rewrote who I was in everyone else's eyes. That's when it started, not revenge. Not yet. But curiosity. What made them do it? Was it jealousy? Insecurity? Spite? And then, something even sharper cut through. What were they hiding? Because people who go that far to destroy someone, they're running from something too. I didn't want revenge. I wanted the truth. And maybe I wanted to give them exactly what they gave me. Not punishment. Doubt. Healing didn't come all at once. It came slowly in small decisions. Like getting out of bed. Shaving. Answering my mom when she knocked, even if it was just a quiet yeah. I still wasn't going back to school, but I was awake now, watching, thinking. Something inside me shifted. Not rage. Not hate. Just clarity. I didn't need to prove my innocence. I needed to let them prove their guilt. And for that, I had to be smart. I started by cleaning up. Deleted all my old posts. Archived anything sentimental, photos of us together, screenshots of late-night messages. It hurt more than I expected, seeing their smiles and remembering how safe I used to feel with them. But it was necessary. I couldn't move forward if I kept mourning the past. Then I started listening. I reactivated an old dummy account and began following them. Quietly. No likes. No comments. Just observation. Jaden posted motivational quotes now, as if he were some kind of role model. He even made a video about rising from struggle. No mention of me, of course. But something was off. He wasn't partying like before. His posts were clean, careful. Like he was trying hard to fix an image. I saw the cracks. He was overcompensating. Nervous, maybe? Guilty? Possibly. Arya was quieter online. No selfies. Just photos of books, lattes, and vague captions like, "Some choices feel right until they don't." I paused on that one. Was she slipping? Tasha was the loudest. She was everywhere, tagged in parties, going live with her usual. No drama, just vibes. Energy. But in the comments, I noticed something odd. People weren't responding like before. Someone wrote, "You gonna frame your way into college too?" It got deleted, but not before I saw it. So, it wasn't just me. The doubt had started. Tiny, but there. That's when I made my first move. I emailed one of the teachers anonymously. Not accusing anyone, but asking if test materials were fully secure before finals. Just curious, I wrote, because I heard there might have been leaks. No reply. But a day later, Jaden tweeted, "Funny how people try to stir stuff up after they get caught. Pathetic." I smiled. He was watching. Good. Next I reached out to Sam. He was a loner, but sharp, and he'd always had a crush on Tasha, which meant he paid attention. I asked him straight up if he remembered anything weird during finals week. "Between you and me?" he messaged. "I saw Jaden switch water bottles with someone near the lockers before the test. Didn't think much of it then." My pulse spiked. That was it. The beginning. I thanked him. Told him not to mention it. I wouldn't use him, not directly. I didn't need people to take my side. I just needed to keep planting seeds. Doubt, once it's in, doesn't need help growing. You just have to water it, drop by drop. It was strange, watching them unravel from a distance. They still smiled in photos. Still laughed in their stories. But now I knew what to look for. Jaden was slipping. He was usually smooth, confident, too confident. But lately his captions felt forced, like someone trying to convince themselves everything was fine. He started posting throwbacks, old soccer wins, past vacations. Nostalgia, when things feel unstable. One night he posted a photo of our old crew. Us four. Tagging everyone but me. Tasha commented, "Delete this." Arya left a red broken heart emoji, then took it down within minutes. It was working. Their tight little circle, once smug and untouchable, was showing cracks. And I hadn't even touched them. Not directly. Just whispers. A fake tip to the vice principal. You might want to look into locker 214. Heard someone stored something there before finals. It was Jaden's old locker. I knew it was cleaned out. That wasn't the point. The point was paranoia. A week later, I saw it on his story, a blurry photo of a desk and the words, "Keep looking. I'm clean." No one had mentioned him publicly. But someone was watching. Tasha, too, was changing. The bold party queen was suddenly canceling plans. I overheard from a mutual friend, someone caught her crying in the bathroom at a party. She kept saying something about people turning on her. They said. Like she was scared of being exposed. Good. Because exposure wasn't even the plan. I just needed them to look at each other and wonder. To feel what I felt, confused, isolated, betrayed by someone you once trusted more than yourself. Then came the message from Arya. Late one night. No subject line. Just, "Did you ever actually do it?" I stared at it for a long time. No. Hi. No apology. No explanation. Just a question that meant one thing, she wasn't sure anymore. I didn't respond. Not yet. Let her sit in it. Let her wonder. They had built their lie on shaky ground. Now every glance, every silence between them would feel suspicious. Every moment alone would itch with uncertainty. I didn't have to destroy them. They were doing it themselves. They were breaking, faster than I expected. Jaden stopped posting. His profile went dark for days. Tasha made her account private. Arya unfollowed them both. Something had shifted. I hadn't done much. A few anonymous tips. A comment here and there on an old post under a fake account. Funny how some people suddenly get perfect test scores. That was enough. Rumors spread like smoke in a locked room. Then I bumped into Arya. She was at the coffee shop near school, sitting alone. No makeup, hoodie up, fingers tapping a lid nervously. She saw me. Flinched. We didn't speak. But her eyes said everything, guilt, confusion, maybe fear. I didn't hold her gaze. I walked past. That silence? It said more than words. Later that night, she messaged again. They told me it was harmless. Just to shake you a little. I didn't know they'd go that far. So she was cracking. I didn't reply. But I saved it. Then came a photo someone sent me anonymously, a screenshot of a private group chat. Jaden. We need to get our story straight. Tasha. Too late. Everyone's acting weird. Arya. I'm done lying. That was it. I didn't need revenge anymore. They were turning on each other, just like I planned. Jaden waited for me near the bleachers after school. Hoodie up, hands in pockets, staring at the ground like a kid waiting outside the principal's office. I almost walked past him. But something in me stopped. We hadn't spoken since the betrayal. Not a word. Not a glance. Just silence and wreckage. He looked up. Thanks for coming. I didn't answer. He scratched his neck. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I laughed once, quiet, bitter. You framed me. You destroyed my record. Took my scholarship. What exactly was too far? He flinched. Good. I always felt like I was second place. You didn't even try, and you still got everything. The grades. The respect. The girls. So you thought taking everything from me would fix that? He hesitated. I thought if people saw you mess up, even just once, I'd finally have a chance. It wasn't supposed to blow up like this. I could see it now, not just guilt, but fear. Not of me. Of himself. Jaden wasn't a mastermind. He was insecure. Bitter. He built a lie because he couldn't stand in his own shadow. And the worst part? I believed in him once. Trusted him. Called him brother. But now, I just felt sorry. He looked up. What are you gonna do? Nothing, I said. His eyes widened. No revenge. No public call-out. Just truth. You get to live with what you did. That's your punishment. He nodded slowly. I deserve worse. Maybe he did. But I wasn't the one to give it. As I walked away, something lifted from my chest. I didn't need him to suffer. I just needed to stop carrying the weight of his betrayal. Days passed. The school stayed quiet, but everything had shifted. An official notice was posted discreetly in the hallway outside the office. A previous academic suspension has been lifted after review. Student reinstated with full academic standing. No names. But people knew. I started getting polite nods, short apologies from people who once laughed behind my back. Not all, but enough. I still hadn't replied to Aria's last message. Part of me didn't want to. What was left to say? She hadn't stopped what happened. She watched it unfold. But one night, I opened her message thread. You didn't deserve it. I was scared, but that's not an excuse. I hope someday you forgive me. I stared at those words for a while. Forgiveness wasn't a moment. It wasn't a switch you flipped. It was a decision you had to make, over and over again, until the weight didn't feel so heavy anymore. So I wrote back. I don't hate you. I just needed the truth. You gave me that. That's enough. She replied with a simple, thank you. That was it. Nothing dramatic. No emotional reunion. Just quiet understanding. Tasha never reached out. I didn't expect her to. Jaden? He avoided me completely now. I heard he dropped from most of his extracurriculars. His reputation, once spotless, was starting to fray. But I didn't gloat. I didn't smile. I had done enough damage just by telling the truth. I focused on myself. Reapplied to universities. Rebuilt what I could. Started tutoring again. Not to prove anything, but because it reminded me of who I was before all this happened. And strangely, I felt stronger. Not because I won, but because I chose not to stay broken. Graduation day came with little fanfare. I wore the same black robe as everyone else, sat in the same rows, listened to the same speeches. My name was called, and I walked across the stage to light applause. Nothing special, but solid. Honest. No one booed. No one whispered. In fact, they clapped. And that was enough. I spotted my parents in the crowd, my mom wiping tears, my dad with his arms crossed, nodding once like we made it. They never stopped believing in me, even when the world turned its back. As the ceremony ended, I stepped outside into the sunlight and found Arya standing by the edge of the crowd. She didn't wave. Just smiled, small, sad, and sincere. I nodded back. No words needed. Some wounds don't heal through conversation. Just time, space, and clarity. Jaden and Tasha didn't come. Maybe they couldn't face it. Maybe they didn't want to. That was okay too. Forgiveness isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It's about choosing not to let it own you anymore. And I made that choice. I was no longer the victim, the accused, the ghost in the rumor mill. I was just Caleb. Still standing. Still moving forward. The truth had come to light, not with vengeance, but with quiet strength. I didn't burn bridges. I walked past them. Because sometimes, the real power isn't in making others fall. It's in choosing to rise.